This week's takeout is Chinese as I deliver the X25 from BAIC. Yes, I know what you guys are thinking. Nice delivery BAIC, Marius. Very funny. But BAIC actually stands for Beijing Automotive Industry Corporation, BAIC. It is state-owned and they are seriously massive players in China. They've been around since 1958, but that means nothing because here in South Africa we hadn't heard of them until 2016 when they made an announcement of a massive 11 billion rand investment in a knockdown assembly plant just outside Port Elizabeth here at Kruger. And then in 2017 they officially came to market with their first vehicles. They launched the D20, which came as a hatchback and a sedan, and then they followed it up with this, the X25, to do battle in the fiercely competitive compact crossover SUV segment. It's got all the styling touches consumers shopping in this segment love. The dark cladding wraps around the entire car, and I do like the silver trim detail on the side sills as well as along the bottom of the windows. It adds an upmarket visual cue, and it's more prominent on the front and rear scuff plates. There is no LED technology, but what you do get are daytime running lights. I actually think the light clusters look really good. At the rear they're linked by more chrome detailing, but it's the front treatment that looks really great. The bonnet and bumper cutouts give the X25 a really purposeful look, further emphasized by the additional bonnet creases. So it sits a little higher off the ground than a hatchback, but only just. It's some 30 millimeters lower to the ground than the EcoSport. The profile is dominated by these really cool two-tone 16-inch alloys, but a wider track would have them filling the wheel arches a lot better, while also improving the handling. You also get the roof rails as standard across the entire range, and I love the simple yet strong character line running from the tail lights to the front wheel. There is also a roof spoiler with integrated brake lights. Look, I think they've done a fantastic job with the toppings, but it's the base that counts, and getting that right is also the most difficult part. That partnership with Mercedes-Benz means the X25 actually runs on the older generation Smart 4.4 platform, so it's off to a really good start. And I must admit, the ride quality is actually good. It's only the worst of road surface that upset things, but to be fair, I haven't really been racing around in the X25 and pitching it into corners, but when you do, that is where you realize that it doesn't quite have the compliance and the suspension setup that Smart 4.4 would have had. There's a lot of body roll and it's easy to get your bike unsettled. But let's be fair, that is not what this car is meant to be doing. It's powered by a 1.5 litre naturally aspirated petrol engine, and you get a choice of either a 5-speed manual transmission or a very old school 4-speed auto, which is exactly what we are in this test unit. It delivers 85 kilowatts and 148 newton meters. Now that puts it slam bang in the ballpark with its competitors like the Ford EcoSport. But I think if you really want to get the most out of this engine, you're going to have to go the 5-speed manual, because it feels like it's delivering a lot less in this automatic transmission. The moment you get to an incline, you're faced with two choices. It's either this, unleash the screams from the torture chamber, or it's this, literally crawling up the hill in relative calm. It's between gears all the time. It's second, it's third, it's second, it's third. It literally is just missing one extra gear. Biggest problem. It may have older technology that's driving it, but it is all very modern and well spec'd when you get into the interior. The Merc influence is impossible to miss here. Those turbine-inspired air vents, the switches, and even the position of the 7-inch infotainment system smacks of previous generation B-Class. It comes with Bluetooth, has a USB port and HDMI connector, which allows for smartphone mirroring on both Apple and Android devices. The inclusion of a 12-volt power socket in the rear is a nice touch. Now, the carbon fiber look may not be to everyone's taste, but with the split dash layout, the piano black finish and the chrome detailing, it's a well-presented interior. The 3-spoke multifunctional leather trimmed steering is height adjustable only. It looks good, but I do prefer a chunkier wheel to grip. The seats are a cloth polyurethane combination and are comfortable enough. I do really appreciate the fact that they are height adjustable for the driver. With keyless entry, push to start, electric mirrors and windows all round, as well as park distance control as standard in the lineup, the X25 is well spec'd. The top of the range fashion adds a reverse camera, a sunroof, as well as cruise control in the auto. Now, they don't give the boot capacity, but it looks a tad on the small side. The seats do flip forward and you get a space saver spare wheel. Oh, but the Chinese really are masters at the proverbial cut and paste, and that's exactly what you get here. Of course, at this price point, you really can't expect the same quality of materials or the same fit and finish as you would in a lot of its competitors. It's noisy on the startup, and when the engine gets revving, that noise intrudes into the cabin. And that literally comes down to just a lack of sound deadening and insulation. But to be fair, this is where the Koreans were not too many years ago. And look at the amazing premium product that Kia and Hyundai now produce. But that comes at a price. Price is probably the X25's biggest selling point, starting just shy of the 220,000 Rand mark for the Comfort Manual to just under 250,000 Rand for the top spec Fashion Auto that we're in. That does include a 5-year 120,000 kilometer warranty, as well as a 4-year 60,000 kilometer service plan. For further information, visit BAIC South Africa's website, or you can get in touch with the team at Tavcor Auto Sales to book your test drive. If you are buying, I'd go manual and pay the 10 grand extra to spec up to the Fashion. Hi, it's Marius.
It's okay actually.
And they all come with dual airbags and ABS with brake force distribution. But don't expect to get anywhere near the claimed 7.2 litres per 100. With the old tech driving the current bike range, I only managed 10.7 litres per 100 on my 170 kilometer delivery route. BAIC's biggest challenge is their brand equity and limited dealer network here in South Africa. That is why Havel literally hit the ground running, because GWM has already proven their track record here in South Africa. They've got a strong dealer network and a solid product as well. BAIC isn't quite on Havel's level just yet, but the story they should be telling is their commitment to production on South African soil, because that is a unique selling point. They certainly aren't going anywhere. You know, making a car is a lot like cooking. We can all have the same ingredients, have the recipe in front of us, but it's how the chef puts all those elements together that really makes the difference. And BAIC isn't quite at Master Chef level yet.